S.J. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Good morning, Gary Five. Mvskoke Radio, Mabu Hedgedwidskis, Gary Five. Jahojifkidos. We have a couple of things to share with you today. The world of rodeo has a champion bull rider who's a member of the Mvskoke Creek Nation. Young man Ryan Roberts is knocking him dead as far as winning some championships. So we've got a few minutes with him this morning to talk about his sport and participating in it, and the big question: why do you climb up on this huge animal and let him toss you around for a while? And in the second half of our program, we'll be speaking with Brian on the Hill. The Council Oak ceremony is coming up for its annual invitation to Mvskoke people to come to Tulsa to participate in the ceremony honoring and remembering the oak tree in a park in downtown Tulsa, which was the starting place for our tribe and the city of Tulsa. So we'll be chatting with him in the second half of the program. But first of all, let me say welcome to Ryan Roberts, and his father, Bodie Robert, is also in the studio with us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time today.
Good morning, and thank you too. Good morning.
Now, from what I understand, Ryan, you are a veteran now of the sport of bull riding.
Yes, sir.
The rodeo world is taking notice of you, and you've won a number of championships. But first of all, you are from Okmulgee, and you might have a few friends and listeners out there. So if you need to say hi to them, go right ahead.
I just want to say hi to my family and my friends, and thank y'all for supporting me.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Well, 20 years old, been riding bulls for about 11 years now. Have a wonderful family and friends, and I can't thank them enough for being behind me through buck-offs and all that other good stuff.
Okay. Now, Bodie, you have quite a record, I understand, in rodeo yourself, and you were incredibly supportive of your son's efforts here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you encourage him to become part of the rodeo world?
Yes, sir. It's a family tradition, really. We've been in rodeo for quite some years now, all the way back to my great grandfather, and went all the way through to my father, and came to me, and then I passed it on to these boys here. He's been riding sheep and steers since he was 7 years old, and first time I seen him do it, I said, that boy's got it. He's just nothing about it. He had the perfect balance and the perfect attitude for it, and he really fights and stays with it daily. It's just on his mind daily about riding bulls and getting where he needs to be in life, and being his mother's very, very proud of him. He's an excellent young man.
Well, let's get to the whys. Ryan, now, as we were chatting out in the lobby there, I'm curious as to why someone would willingly climb on the back of this big animal and let him beat you up for a while. What was it that interested you in becoming a bull rider?
Well, it just looked fun, and not really many people can do it. And it's just a fun sport, pretty fun sport.
That one baffles me. Forgive me. Now I've watched it on TV and been to some rodeos myself, and I've got a lot of admiration for the bull riders, and that's kind of the highlight of the evening too for most rodeos, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you get out to ride a bull, what goes through your mind? What are you thinking as you're climbing on and settling in?
Well, I know when I go there, I got to have love for it, and just make sure I keep my mind clear and go out there and ride him jump for jump, and hopefully takes home some money.
Do you have a strategy? Have you thought out a plan when you see a bull and you're about to take him on there?
Not really. I just sit there and probably talk to a few of my buddies, try to keep my mind clear off of it. That's about it.
Are they predictable? I mean, sometimes in watching it on TV, we've heard of stock outfits that rotate around the country with their animals, with their stock. And do you run across the same bull occasionally here?
Yeah, sometimes there's some times where I'll run into some of the same ones and some different ones, but I just gotta look at them. If I run into the same ones, I just think of them that I've never seen him before.
And do you remember any of them? Is there a particular name, a particular animal that sticks in your mind there?
Yeah, I went to Built for Tough when I was 18 in Springfield, and I got on a Stone Sober, and he scarred me for life.
Oh, we won't go into where that scar is. I'm sure that folks can get an idea there. Now, Bodie, as a parent there, what do you think when you see your son climbing on this incredible mass of muscle?
Actually, I pushed him into it, seeing how good I thought he could ride. I pushed him towards that way to start riding, and at times I do worry. But now the ability he has, and I see the way he rides things, and he takes control of his matters on top of that bull, I worry about the bull more than I do him anymore.
Okay, you want to get a hold of one of them and turn them into some future hamburger at one point. But Ryan, I understand you had quite a season already and still going. You've managed to win a few championships along the way there.
Yeah, I have. I'm just trying to get it done for I can't do it anymore and just making memories of it. Got a baby boy on the way, so I'm trying to be his hero. So that's what I'm aiming for.
No, that's quite a challenge there. Bodie, maybe you can list a few of the championships he's won this year.
He's all the way back from his junior days. He's won some junior rodeo championships. He's been the Region 8 All-Indian junior bull riding champion. He was that for about 3 years, and he was a Region 8 All-Indian world champion in the bull riding now for the past 3 to 4 years. He's won numerous amateur championships. This one we're going for in Las Vegas this year is something we've been working on for quite some time now, and this year I think we got it whooped. I think we're the ones to look at when we go up there this year. But as far as he's won, I say 22
Gosh.
Yeah, he's won many awards at this right here. But this one right here we're going for in November is the one we're after right here. Mm-hmm. It should start his career going forward above and beyond, professional and stuff like that after this one right here. But we're putting all our eggs in one basket right here on this one.
It sounds like you've got a superstar in the making here.
Yes, sir. We sure do.
You got a lot of groupies, Brian?
Just family.
Family.
Just family.
You're going to stay on safe ground.
Yeah, just the family.
Now, we have, being in Oklahoma, you're aware of rodeo as being a huge part of the state's heritage and things like that. And you see where it's quite popular in other states and always has been. So where does rodeo fit on the popularity scale as far as the nation is concerned? Any feel or conjecture from either of you there?
I think rodeo it's one of the best sports, I think. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to be a part of it, and it's growing. Yeah. It's growing every day.
Oh, I think football is practically a religion, especially in Oklahoma, and then there are NASCAR and NBA, basketball, and Major League Baseball and things like that. So where do you think rodeo kind of fits in that?
If it's in the groups we run with and people I talk to around here, they're always asking me how Ryan's doing. They're real into the rodeo stuff. I think it fits in the top 2 or 3 in around Oklahoma because. Everyone wants to do it. Everybody sees it and thinks it's easy. it's not as easy as it looks on television or when you watch it. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to get to where this boy is at in his life. You know, all of us in rodeo have done it. Went through the trouble, went through the pain, went through the hardships. But yeah, from what I see out here in Oklahoma, rodeo's in the top 3 major sports events around.
And there's a pretty big one right here in this town too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been a part of it since 1984.
Now that's the one associated with the Mvskoke Festival.
Yes, sir.
And you've ridden in that one a few times, I assume, Ron?
Yes, sir. I placed 3rd or 2nd this year, but I won it last year.
Do your fellow Mvskoke people recognize you and cheer you on there?
Yeah, most of them's family. Most of them's kinfolks, cousins, you know.
Okay, on this side, all of Ryan's cousins are in this section.
Yeah.
Okay. We've seen a lot of people become involved in this sport, and we're aware of there's like a national circuit that you follow. I guess it would primarily be strongest from here to the southwest, or you go up north. What's it like? What's it like living on the road as a rodeo bull rider there?
Spending a lot of money, bumps and bruises, some good times. I really just don't know. It's kind of like a vacation, but more business. So
meet a lot of people, meet a lot of interesting people, visiting the other tribes around the United States and around this nation, even in Canada. It's something to see. There's things you see on television, you watch in movies that happen, and you hear, you have the Sioux, the Lakota Sioux, all them like that, and you hear their language, but when you actually hear it come out of one of their mouths, and you're up there and you're in their watching their powwow, and you hear one of them words, and you're like, hey, I've heard that on television. That's when you know you're from Oklahoma and don't get out there. But it's very amazing, and they're very, very nice people. Very nice. They'll give the shirt off their back for you, and it's great. I really do love it. Is running a tour season through the INFR. They have rodeos across the United States where you can run and you can try to make the INFR through a tour section, which he won the tour section. He's the #1 bull rider in the world in the Indian rodeo right now, and we have been to South Dakota, we have been to Florida, Arizona, New Mexico. We've traveled. Let's just say that we've traveled, and we had a great time doing it. We met a lot of nice and new people, and very, very blessed and thankful for that.
Now, you mentioned INFR, which is the Indian National Finals Rodeo.
Yes, sir.
And there's an association there.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this group? What does it do?
They're a group out of Browning, Montana that they put it together for all Native cowboys to join their association and compete for money and prizes to make it to their finals, which is held in Las Vegas on November 8th to 12th this year. And a superb group of people. They really take their rodeo business seriously, and I think they call us the amateur part of rodeo, but we really run a professional type of organization up that way, and it's really a good deal.
Now, I understand you yourself have a background in team roping in particular.
Yeah, I rode junior bulls when I was younger, and found out I didn't want no more of that. And so I went on to breaking horses and then team roping. So that's where I've been. And then I started having children. I had Ryan. I got one boy. He's going to be a real good team roper. He's really coming in on it pretty good, and he's got a lot of shoes to fill with this one right here. He pretty much broke the mold when I made Ryan Roberts. So he's on his way to being what he wants to be. He's living his dream.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like bull riding kind of knocked some sense into you as a younger man. What am I doing here? Let's do something else.
Oh, yes, so it is.
Do you get a lot of people who, like me, who just wonder why you do it? I mean, folks who aren't familiar with your career or rodeo itself.
Yeah, it's something different. There's some kind of feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a 1 in a million type feeling. and it's like a getaway kind of. I don't know. It's weird, but it's just fun to me.
Mm.
It's just fun.
Now, what runs through your mind when you meet members of other tribes?
Usually just start off talking to them, and they end up being one of my best friends. I got best friends all around the country, and it's kind of good to have somebody there. That way, if I was to need them, then I'll have them there.
Mm-hmm. How does one learn to become a bull rider? I presume there are schools or instructors around that could make themselves available. Do you rent them? Do you buy them? Do you enroll? How does this work?
I went to Terry Don West Bull Riding School when I was about 16, and that shot my career up pretty far. It's a good school. He teaches you everything you need to know, fundamentals, just about everything you need to know, and you just kind of take it from yourself for there.
Well, I guess I want to underscore that phrase you just used, everything you need to know. So what do you actually learn?
Just like if you're sitting in the chute, you need to learn all your, I'm trying to think of the word for that. Procedures, yeah. Just where you need to put your feet, how you need to put your hand, how you're going to balance yourself, and yeah,
what I've noticed when a rider mounts a bull and settles in, he puts his hand down into some kind of harness things, and it looked like they're tying him in there. I mean, it's a wrap it with a rope or leather or something like that. What's going on there?
It's kind of like a suitcase handle. You got a braided rope, so you put your hand in there, and then you'll have another rope, or the rest of your rope, you put it through your hand, and you bring it through the back of your hand. And I usually take a pinky wrap, so it kind of locks my hand down in there tighter. I mean, yeah, that way I ain't letting go.
You ever dislocate a pinky there?
Not yet.
Well, while we're going that direction, tell me, this has got a potential for being fatal, I presume, at the most extreme, but a lot of guys can get hurt really, really nastily. Have you ever been injured during a rodeo there?
Yeah, I had quite a few injuries. When I was 14, I ended up cracking the back of my skull, and just mainly there, some cracked ribs and bumps and bruises, but can't let it faze you.
That one just baffles me again. I was like, there's this mad bull trying to stomp you into a mud hole there, and you just can't let it bother you.
No.
Now, we have seen a change in protective gear. When I was a little kid, we see rodeos and guys just climb on and pull their hat down and take off. But now we're seeing helmets, safety helmets, and body armor kind of things. What is that stuff?
Well, you got your vest, and that's because of Lane Frost when he got that horn to the back, and you got your helmet. I mean, I think it's really just a mind game kind of, but Mama does make me wear my safety equipment, so I have to be sure to. But most people wear their cowboy hats. They think they can't see out of a face mask, or sometimes they don't wear a vest, but it's just safety hazards.
Yeah, pretty hazardous from what I'd seen. Yeah, so I always thought that was kind of a smart move to have this protection in place.
It is.
Has it ever played a part in a ride you've had? Has it kind of saved your rib cage or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it has been stepped on. It's always there. It's going to hit the vest before it hits your skin.
Mm-hmm. So, Bodie, what do you think? If he climbs on a bull, he's got to have this gear with him? I mean, protect himself?
I've tried to go against Mother a few times on the helmet just because he don't want to ride with it. And every time we've let him, he's ended up hitting his head. So, no, he's not allowed to crawl on the bull without a vest and a helmet on.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that makes sense. He may get dinged and change his mind about
Yes,
bull
sir.
riding. The way riders prepare themselves, I mean, how do you practice for a sport like this? Do you go out and ride bulls, and pasture out back, or what happens?
You can ride horses. I got a stationary barrel at the house. I just sit on when I get off of work. Yeah, there's practice pins around, but it's just mainly kind of a mind game. You can practice however you want to. But
They've asked him that before, and pretty much his practice is the next rodeo.
The next rodeo?
Yeah.
It's sort of on-the-job training,
Yes,
almost,
sir.
it sounds
Yes, sir.
like. Do you remember the first time you rode?
it's kind of blur.
You know, why is that blurry?
I think because I had my eyes closed.
You didn't get your bell rung or anything.
No, all I remember was him taking off, and my eyes were closed, but they said I almost rode him, so I just kept going with it.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that 8 seconds can be an eternity when you're out there. Does that ever cross your mind, run through your mind, or does it just happen so quickly that you're just out in the blink of an eye and it was over?
There's sometimes where bull would be going so fast, I'd come off, I'd look up, and they say 8 seconds. I'm just like, wow, that felt like just a split second. And there's some bumpy ones where it feels like about 2 hours. So, yeah.
When is this going to
yeah.
end?
Yeah.
Yeah. The sport has been popular for such a long time. Do you think, both of you guys, do you think it's growing in popularity? And is this pretty much the highlight of a rodeo when you go, by the way?
Yeah, yes, sir, it is. It comes about time right after the barrel racing in the rodeo. The announcer come on and announce on the speakers and say, who came to see some bull riding, and everybody go to hollering. And yeah, pretty much the fans anyhow came to see the bull riding. You wanted to see, I guess, either see how bad somebody's going to get hurt or who rides a good one.
Yeah. So funny thing about human beings, they just love watching disasters.
Yes.
What's NASCAR?
Yeah.
Now, the crowd, does it ever kind of figure into what you're doing? Do you hear them? Do you hear encouragement and support and this kind of thing?
Sometimes I do. Most of the time, everything kind of just goes silent.
Mm.
So really don't really hear anything, but sometimes I do.
And does anything stick in your mind there?
Not really. When I get on, usually whoever's on the back of the chute, I'll usually hear them before I go out, and then usually that's kind of just what sticks. So that's about it.
Now, being Indian people, particularly Mvskoke, a couple of questions here. What's it like when you meet other tribes? Are they curious about you? And do you ever run into any hard times from people who just, I just have to say, I just don't like Indians or other people? I mean, does that ever pop up?
Not really. I usually try to treat people how I'd like to be treated, so everybody's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually don't really bother anybody, but when we go down there and see other tribes, we'll switch or we'll swap conversations, and we'll tell each other about our tribes and languages and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool kind of listening to what everybody else has to say and learning different things about other tribes. But it's a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Now, same question, Bodie. Now, have you run into opposition from other people, or you just didn't like Indians, or
No, not so much. No, not in the rodeo business. Like I said, I'm really amazed at the tribes I don't even know that's out there that I've met, run into, and like I said, everybody's just so nice. It's being away from home and you don't know what to expect, and they come up to you and ask you who you are and where you're from, and they know someone from that way or had an old friend from back there, and it just turns into a big conversation, and the rest of the weekend you're walking by, shaking hands, saying hello, and it usually turns out okay. I've really not had any animosity towards anything or anybody, so.
No, that's good, because it seems like sometimes it pops up at the worst times.
Yeah, your rodeo family is rodeo family. We stick tight, we really do. We may have complications every now and again, but when it's all said and done, we can look at each other and smile and know we're there for each other. It's just the way our rodeo family is. Mm-hmm. And I say family as in, you don't have to be blood. You just have to be a part of what we're doing, and everybody understands we still pretty tight crowd.
As a Mvskoke citizen, and other tribes from the INFR other people outside that in the rodeo world, do they look at you as kind of carrying the banner for Indian people, or in particular Mvskoke? Do you ever run into that situation?
Not too often. I don't.
We kind of like to say, in our own selves that he carries the banner for Creek Nation, but we don't really know for sure.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is, I've interviewed some actors in the past, and I always ask them, does the world look at you as being the representative of Native people? You know, ask your opinion on the world of film and Indians and this kind of thing. So you don't really run into that situation in the world of rodeo?
No. The only title that he would hold would be through the Indians, would be through the Indian people of Region 8 or the Indian people of the INFR. As far as our nation goes, we proudly uphold him. That's about as far as it goes.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you to help me out here now. Region 8, that covers how many states and where?
It covers a total of 6 states, I do believe. Mainly in Oklahoma. I've not yet known us to go out to Oklahoma to have a Region 8 rodeo, but we cover a total of 6 states. Regions are set throughout the United States for 13 regions out of the INFR who's, qualified through the INFR. It goes from, like I said, from Florida all the way to California and stuff. But the region we have is right around Oklahoma. I think it consists of maybe Texas, Louisiana, Kansas, states like that. But like I said, them people in them states could come to Oklahoma and join the Region 8, or anybody can come from any state whatsoever and join the Region 8 and be a part of it. We have people from Arizona, saddle bronc riders, that come in to every rodeo, buy a Region 8 card through the INFR, and they come to our rodeos and rodeo, and they have their own region down in. They have 2 or 3 regions in Arizona they could rodeo in, but they'd rather rodeo here because they said they like the people. So it works out all.
Where is the hot spot, I guess, for rodeo in the United States? Is it down here in Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, or is it up north in
I'd say the southwest region right here from Arizona to Oklahoma is probably a pretty good hot spot. Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Just more cowboys down here,
yes.
Or what? More tribes?
I hate to take away from any cowboy away from anywhere here, but yes, there's quite a few cowboys this way.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of seems kind of an interesting dichotomy there. For as a kid, you end up playing cowboys and Indians and shooting at each other with these little guns and things like that. Does any of that ever bleed over? I mean, do people bring it up laughingly or more seriously?
Well, yeah, sometimes they do. Yes, sometimes they do. I told him years ago, I said, you can call yourself a rodeo athlete if you want to.
Yeah, there you are.
I said, but my father put it in my heart years ago, we cowboy. We get up, we ride horses, and we do things other people don't do. So, I'm proud to call myself a Native American cowboy.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting angle, athlete. Do you train athletically for this, condition your body? Like, you run, lift weights, flexibility exercises, anything like that?
Yeah, I usually lift weights, go for a jog or so. I'm working for this fence company right now, so it was hot, so I was getting used to the heat, I was getting used to the heat, so every time I'd go get on a bull, I'd see everybody sweating down in Arizona, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. But it's just kind of like any other sport. You just find what you need for your techniques and just go with it.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Does any tribe produce more of the best cowboys than any others? In your experience, either one of you both?
Different events have different cowboys. Up north, they have a lot more saddle bronc, bareback, bucking horses. Mm-hmm. Arizona, more of the roper type, and Oklahoma, we bring in all types. They really, we bring some good athletes to the table as far as bulldogging, calf roping, team roping and bull riding. Now we got us a good bull rider. So.
Gosh, that still just amazes me to do that.
Yeah, but in Vegas and INFR, it's so beautiful and so nice. You see every walking life of Indian, every Native American that you would know. I mean, it is amazing, and the different cultures and the different way of being. It's something else. It's really, the first year we went was 7 years ago. I couldn't believe it. I was astounded. You know, I was like, wow, this is something great here, and we've always wanted to be a part of it ever since. So we're still striving.
Ryan, what are your future ambitions? I mean, is there something, some mountain you want to climb there, a mountain of achievement that you're looking for, or do you think you've reached that peak yet?
Well, after Vegas, I'd like to join the PRCA, because that's kind of where all the cowboys go, and I'd like to try to win me a world title there, and kind of probably do it one more time and maybe call it good.
Now, right now, you are an amateur, is that correct? INFR, is that amateur as opposed to a professional rodeo cowboy?
I could say it's kind of in between, because I mean, some of the stock contractors, they bring PBR bulls to the rodeos, so you're kind of riding on that level also. And I went to a few other associations, like LJ Jenkins. He threw a bull riding down here in Okmulgee, that professional bull rider guy. And you know, it's just, I try to look at it as I'm just
You're half crazy for doing this. Now, you mentioned something there that I'm curious about. Now, PRC is like that, would be like the NFL in football, the highest peak you can get with other groups below that?
As a rodeo, yes, it is. As a rodeo. See, there's the PBR, but that's just bull riding. It's not too bad. I've been there once. It was a real good experience. But PRCA, I just think, is where the real cowboys go.
Yeah, so that's kind of where you'd like to end up.
That's where I'd like to go, yes, sir.
Can you make a living doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Is the prize winnings lucrative enough for you to do this?
Yeah, I just got to keep practicing and taking it day by day, and hopefully I get there. But yeah, money's pretty good. They call it Cowboy Christmas all the time.
There's one I've never heard. Okay, you heard it first here on Mvskoke Radio. Now, for both of you, is there a trade-off there? You're going to be spending a lot of time on the circuit and on the road and living in places that are not home. Does that affect your family life and your feelings about what might be happening here in Okmulgee with your folks? I mean, is that ever?
Always. There's everyone at home's always in our thoughts and our prayers, and they know what we're out doing and trying to get done here. And I've devoted a lot of my year to running with my family across this place, get things done. And we do have jobs here. You know, we work for a lad defense company, and my boss, he's Stephen McEwen. He's a real good guy. He's a rodeo guy himself, and he understands if we got to take off and hit a rodeo, he's all about it. So, family-wise, they support us 100%. They're always right there behind Ryan's back, you know, dedicating their time to tell him good luck or be there for him, and it's played out great. It's played out real great.
Yeah, it has.
Are there times when you might, I guess, feel a little bit lonely because you're away from home and family? You see all the movies about cowboys, and always, you know, wishing I was home and with my loved ones and things like that. Does that ever strike you?
The first time I went to Peridot, I went with me and my buddy, and yeah, I did feel pretty lonely because I didn't know nobody there. So I was like kind of sick feeling, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. Now I take family usually everywhere I go. Usually we have at least close to 5 or 6 people going with us. So yeah, we pack down a car or two and head on out.
Yeah, long roads down there.
Yes, sir.
Down there. Okay, well, gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. We certainly appreciate you coming down, and we want to wish you the most success, Ryan, in your career here.
Thank you.
And Hope you get a whole bunch more belt buckles then.
I sure hope so too.
That means your pants will never fold.
Right.
Bodie, thank you for bringing him to our attention.
Yes,
we appreciate you doing that, and
Yes,
I
sir.
presume you're really proud of this guy.
Very proud, very proud.
Okay. Well, we want to say, Mado, we're going to move on here this morning. We'll take a break here, and we'll be back with Brian on the Hill and talk about this year's Council Oak ceremony. So please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio on 1240 The Brew.
I started doing it when I was 11. I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
One Fire Casino in Okmulgee offers Ladies' Day every Monday with $5 match play, VIP days for seniors on Tuesdays, lunchtime match plays on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and several other great drawings and prizes throughout the weekend. Don't forget to take advantage of spinning the wheel on Sundays to win up to $5,000 cash. Be sure to check out the daily meal specials at Council Oak Cafe. There are exciting monthly giveaways with extravagant prizes. Come and play at One Fire Casino, where it really is okay to play with fire.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on 1240 The Brew in beautiful downtown Okmulgee today. Gosh, it's nice. Joining us now in the studio, one of our favorite interviews, Brian on the Hill joins us from the Tribal Tourism and Recreation Department. Hesche Stongo.
Hetimahi Roshi.
Hey.
Jinda.
Hetimahi. Nice. Stongazos. The annual ceremony at Council Oak in downtown Tulsa is coming up in mid-October, and we want to know what you got lined up this year. What's on your agenda there?
Well, Gary, it's pretty much the same as usual, although we have moved the date up a bit. It's usually about around the third weekend. This year it's October 15th, and it will be at the same time, 2 o'clock. That is on a Saturday at the Creek Nation Council Oak Park. And for those of you who don't know where that is, it's at 1750 South Cheyenne Avenue. That's on the south side of the downtown area, and it's right near the Veterans Park.
Well, most of our Stajatis will know what this is all about, but for our listeners who are not familiar, what is the Council Oak, and why do we honor it each year like this?
The Council Oak is a tree that is in Tulsa. Of course, I just told you the address. It's where a branch of the tribe known as the Lojaboga people planted the ashes from a ceremonial fire from the homelands in Alabama. They brought those ashes with them, and legend says that they buried them at the base of this tree, and that's where they established their new tribal town, right near the banks of the Arkansas River. And around that ceremonial ground is where the town of Tulsa grew, and the majority of that, the development of that town had to do with the Mvskoke people. The ceremony is always attended by all of our tribal dignitaries, council, chief, second chief,
yes, and usually the mayor of Tulsa, Dewey
Yes.
Bartlett's been there for a couple of years now.
Right.
So it's made quite a, what would you say, it's more than just an impression on our people, but it's so critical to our culture, right?
It is. It's one thing that's still visible from that far back, one thing that can remind us of where we came from, what happened here, and what's still going on, and that our people are still alive. And I think that more people are becoming aware of the importance of this Council Oak Park, and that it's not just a tree there. I know that in the past years we've had a rise in attendance, and there have been at least 100 people that come there to the park, because we bring at least 100 chairs, and there's more people than that. And we're really happy with that, really happy to share the history and the culture of our people with people who may not know much about it, and also with people who don't know that Tulsa grew up around that tree. And that if you'll notice on our flyer from this year, I put on there honoring those who established Tulsa. I wanted to make sure that people knew that our people are the ones who created Tulsa. They're the reason for Tulsa. We're also the reason for Okmulgee. Many people might not know that. The only reason this town exists is because of that council house that's right there on that square. Originally, the town that existed a few miles south of where we are right now, and because when our people came in and established their area, the town moved to here, and that's how Okmulgee became. Same thing with Tulsa. The people were there, the business was there, and so Tulsa just grew up around that. And the first postmaster for Tulsa was a Creek citizen.
Oh, I never knew that. Now, I've seen your work in the programs you put on out there, and that shows me a lot of dedication. But let me ask you personally, as a Creek citizen, why is this so important?
It's so important because, you know the old adage, you have to remember where you're from in order to get where you want to go. I think that's very important, that we not forget who we are, what our people did in the past. There are people in our own tribe that we can look up to, and that our youth can look up to. We have people that can be role models within our own tribe, and it's very important that our young people know that, because I think that a lot of them don't have a sense of identity that relates to being Mvskoke. They don't really know what that is. They just know what they see and what they've been told, and we're not telling them enough. We're not involving them enough. And I think when we put these kinds of things on and make sure that everyone knows, I want them to bring their children out as well, so that they know who they are. And that with that in mind, it makes them more confident. They have a sense of identity, so that they can go on and be better people.
I grew up in Tulsa and attended public schools all my life there, and I do not remember once that any teacher or any program ever mentioned this tree and the true beginnings of Tulsa. I always kind of wondered, what's going on and who was here first.
Right.
I'm thinking, Indian people had to be, but we never heard any of that story. We were never educated. It was never part of that education system. We're seeing a change, I think, in the attitudes of our community and culture now, and even Tulsa is including this more in their promotional material.
Yes.
So you've seen this change yourself?
Yes, and we've received many phone calls from the city of Tulsa, from Tulsa Parks and Recreation, also from local public school systems, regarding more material, more text and things like that about our people in the Tulsa area, about what we did, where we lived, the importance of the Council Oak tree, and just what happened in that area, just general history. And I think that one thing that has really helped with that has been the guide that comes from our department, the guide to the Mvskoke Creek Nation. It contains a lot of information on our history in a very condensed version. Also locations of some of our amenities, and just general information about our people and the government and things like that. And I think that has really helped with those questions that people have had when they call our office.
And it's good to remind the city of Tulsa that we were here.
That's right.
Before then.
Right. Ask us questions. We know.
Yeah. Change the name of my street, Brady Street. The kinds of things that you're producing here around this this living link to our history are pretty amazing. Let's take a second here and can you share a program schedule agenda there?
Sure. Generally, what happens is we have a welcome from the principal chief. Then we go into lighting the fire. And that is just reminding us that used to be a ceremonial ground. And that's where they lit their first fire when they came to Indian Territory, with the ashes that they brought with them from their home in Alabama. So that's a pretty big deal, and people are pretty reverent when that happens. And then we have a traditional speech, and it's called Bonaga Japgijka, which means like a long talk. And it's entirely in Creek, and I know that sometimes when people give that speech, they're talking about what's going on that day, what are the events that are happening, and why it's important, and they get very excited and emotional and very passionate when they give that speech. Then we have what's called the call, and it's kind of like the turkey sound that you hear at ceremonial grounds. And after that, we have the honor guard that gives a presentation of the colors. We have a welcome, and then introduction of dignitaries and guests, which usually pertains to principal chief, second chief, council, all the council reps that are able to attend. Some dignitaries from the city of Tulsa. We've had some people from the city council there, and also the mayor. And if he is available, he does give a welcome and a proclamation for that day. And then we have the recalling of the history from our royalty, which are the Miss Mvskoke Nation and Junior Miss Mvskoke Nation. They tell the history of the Council Oak and the history of the Lojaboga people. And then we also have someone that comes in to give us a history of Mvskoke traditions. Basically, what is a ceremonial ground? What's its importance? What exactly is going on there when we do what we do there, our religious ceremonies? And then closing remarks, and then a dismissal, and that's usually in Creek as well.
Mm-hmm. I remember a gentleman we had on the show some years back, and Lord forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he used to work with the parks maintenance crew. And they were working that park, cutting down some older trees and things like that. Mm-hmm. And he said when they came to this tree, he couldn't do it, and he stopped and asked his other guys to leave it alone. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he said he kind of riled their supervisor a bit, saying, hey, well, you're supposed to do your job. This tree got to go down. And then he explained how he felt in a bit of its history, and then took his case to the mayor's office, saying, please, this is a living. Do you recall that particular situation?
Yeah, I've heard that story several times, and I think I usually hear it around this time when we have this ceremony. People do talk about that he felt there was something important about that tree, and he fought to save it, and then eventually it became registered on the national landmarks, I believe is what it's registered with.
And it's still there to this day, surrounded by a little fence there.
Right.
And it's got an unusual story about its survivability. I don't know if you've got a guess on the age of this tree, or guesstimate.
Well, it had to be full grown whenever they arrived, and they arrived approximately 180 years ago, 1836. And I mean, it had to be substantial at that time for them to even recognize it or pay attention to it, and use that as a landmark. And so it's got to be over 200 years old, you would think.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how old an oak tree has to be.
I don't know either.
I'll go over here and check these out on the council house lawn. But it has survived so many storms and things where other trees were just, and the neighborhood was practically destroyed by
ice storms and things like that, weighed down the branches.
And one of the things they've done to help it survive is install kind of a lightning rod within the tree that's still there.
I've noticed that, yeah.
And has actually saved a tree a few times when lightning did strike. So it's got quite a survivability story there too. Now, as the city of Tulsa, I think, comes more to the true terms of its history. Have you seen anything there, either from the government or the attitudes of publicity, or even some of the folks who live there, kind of a change in including more of Mvskoke history or native history at all in
I have seen that. I have seen that from time to time, and some things, some advertisements and things that they do. I've spoken with some of their CVB people, Convention and Visitors Bureau. The people I talked to didn't have a lot of interaction with me, and I don't know where that stems from. But I don't know if they realize that we're the people that have brought a huge contribution to the economy of Tulsa, especially considering Margaritaville now being there, and that being a huge draw and a tourist destination. I mean, that's a place that a lot of people are going to come, and while they're there, they're going to want to use some more facilities throughout the city of Tulsa, and I hope that they can recognize that, and I believe that some people have. The only people that I don't really see doing that, and like I said, is the tourism people. The tourism and the CVB people, I've tried to have conversations with them, and it's just not there. In the past, I have had conversations with them. They've actually called, and at one time they did produce a tribal histories book that included all the tribes that are in Tulsa, which they included the Cherokee, the Mvskoke, and then also the Osage. And they produced a small publication that told about them and their amenities, their historic landmarks and things like that, because they were related to Tulsa. And I guess at that time they actually realized what kind of a draw native tourism has for that area, and how many people are looking for those types of things, especially Europeans. They're very interested in that.
Yes.
And you know, they may not want them to come just for that, but if they want them to come, they need to find a way to get them there. And that will at least get them there. And then they'll use the rest of the amenities in the city of Tulsa. So I see the government acknowledging us. I see them actually talking to us about things, inviting us to different functions and events, and seeing us as a true player in the economy of the city of Tulsa. And also in its origins, you know, they're actually realizing where it came from and where it started. And I think I am actually seeing more of that in some of their publications.
Well, I think it's the color that you're most interested in is money green.
Yes, right.
We've got such an economic wallop now.
We do, yes.
With the gaming facilities there, ownership of Riverwalk, and you know, and I think there's potential to be seen there yet.
Yes.
So then you would say that we have a whole lot more leverage with Tulsa and the community there?
I would think so. I mean, I don't know how we couldn't, you know, with that big of a punch that we have now with the economy, having Margaritaville and like you said, the Riverwalk, and then many other things that we've contributed to along there, and with moving the trail, the river trail to behind the casino, we contributed to that as well. And there's just lots of other things that we do there to support the city of Tulsa, and I think they're finally realizing how important we are and how much we can help.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to see that they're kind of coming around.
Yes. And like you said, I think they're seeing that, you know, oh, I think these people might have some money. Let's see if we can get some from them. And then in the meantime, let's acknowledge them on things.
Money talks and et cetera. You know how
that's right.
That one goes. Now, the 15th has a lot more going on in the afternoon right after the ceremony at the tree right there. So what have you got lined up in your agenda for the rest of the day there?
Okay, so after the ceremony, which is over about 3:30-ish, after that, everybody moves to the Tulsa Creek Indian Community, which is on 8611 South Union Avenue. So it's a few miles south of the Creek Nation Council Oak Park. And we have activities there that include stickball and a dinner provided by the Tallahassee Wagogai Ceremonial Ground. They provide foods such as grape dumplings, beans, fry bread, sofkey, all the staples that you would desire at a creek dinner. And more, fried chicken, I think. They usually have that as well. People always look forward to that. And there's usually a huge line for that. And so if you're interested in eating some of that food, it is free. And all these events are open to the public. The majority of people show up at the park, but they don't generally come to the community center. And I'd like to encourage everyone who's interested to at least come out and see what's going on. We do have arts and crafts vendors that are there set up on the north and south sides of the stickball ground. So they have their wares to sell, as well as you can play stickball, you can take part in the dinner, and then after that there is a stomp dance, sort of an exhibition social stomp dance, and that's put on by several different ceremonial grounds coming together, and they just have a good time out there because they know it's not something that's real serious, it's just something for fun and for socialization, and so everybody can see what's going on.
Right. It's so easy to participate in.
Yes.
It's not like you have to know complicated steps.
No, and we're not intimidating at all.
No arena directors.
No.
Okay, and this song is for all you out-of-staters and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, powwow, folks, where are you there?
That's right.
Now, let me ask you a couple of things about the rest of the agenda you guys have. Tourism Rec has got to be one of the most dynamic departments. You've always got something in the mix. Let me ask you about the splash pad. What's the status there? We know it was so popular when it opened up. And
It was.
Mechanical problems.
I think there are some things that happened with it that weren't addressed in the beginning. But I think that has to do a lot with the people who constructed it. They didn't tell us some things that had happened. They didn't consult us on some things they should have. And so it kind of just got out of hand. And we didn't figure out those things until after it was already operational and people were using it. And we noticed the floods, the sinking, and all those kinds of things. And I don't think the foundation was established properly for that splash pad. And so those are things that the construction department as well as our department are dealing with right now.
Well, we wish the best for you, because I saw the little ones out there just loved it.
They did, especially my daughter.
I saw a lot of grown-ups out there actually cooling off during the festival.
You know it.
Now, it's still closed down, and probably will be for the rest of the year.
Probably so. We're hoping, I hope and pray that it's open by summer next year, by the time it gets hot, and I'm sure that'll happen.
This would have been about the time you'd have closed it down anyway.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Well, we wish you the best on that one.
Thank you.
Now, what else have you guys got up your sleeve? You always got some fun stuff happening.
Well, at the end of the month, October 29th, we have the Indian Fall Festival, and that festival has grown since we first started it about 5 years ago. I think this is like the 5th year for it. And last year we moved it into the Dome, and this year we'll be inside the Dome again. And that's on October 29th. It starts at 10 o'clock. We have several arts and crafts vendors. About 30 showed up last year. I'm hoping for more this year. We have some activities for the kids. We have a fry bread competition. I know a lot of people were upset about that last year because there wasn't an opportunity for more than one winner. And I know that paying $50 is kind of hard sometimes, seeing as how money can go really quickly. So we're going to make some more winners available this year. You're going to have like our first and second, or first, second, and third. And then we're going to do the same with our chili cook-off that we started last year as well. Well, like I said, we'll have plenty of activities for the kids. We'll have food available for purchase. And you can also participate in the chili cook-off by purchasing taster kits and choosing the winner yourself. And in the evening, the actual festival itself will run 10 to 4. We'll have also a 5K run, and I think we also have a softball tournament as well at that time going on. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to have a movie, probably related to Halloween, since it is October 29th, and that will be for the children, for the entire family. And of course, we'll have popcorn available at that time. Well, a full concession will be available, and that starts at 6. So we're going to have a entire day of fun for the entire family, and everybody's welcome. All the activities are free to observe, and there's no admission charge. The only thing that we do charge for is going to be the food, of course, and then entering into the fry bread competition and the chili cook-off. Everything else is free for the children, the activities, things like that. We always have them painting pumpkins or painting something, and I think this year, just the same as last, we will have someone there to show them how to do basketry or some sort of creek art, so that they can make something and take it home with them. That's part of this. So it's kind of like a cultural show and tell kind of thing. The majority of our arts and crafts are going to be creek as well, and culturally relevant.
Okay. Question here. In retrospect, after it's all over, what's your assessment of this year's festival in June? I mean, how did we do? More people, more whatever?
This year's festival, from my point of view, and I think I can say safely from the rest of the office as well, it was easier. It was more pleasant, and it wasn't as crowded. Of course, there were less people, but I don't think that we need to measure the success of our festival by the amount of people that show up. I think we measure its success based on what kind of fun those people had while they were here. And I've received 0 complaints. The rest of the office has received 0 complaints. I had several compliments while I was there at the festival. People came up to me and told me what they liked and why they liked it better this year. And I think the majority of it had to do with less people. It's fun to have people there. It's fun to have a crowd and to participate with us. But when there's so many people, you just can't enjoy everything, and it's already hot.
Yeah.
Tempers are already flaring.
Lines are long.
That's right. You know,
okay.
and you just can't enjoy yourself. So everybody was pleasantly pleased with it, I think, this year.
Brian, we got to go here. We want to say thank you so much for coming in and filling
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We hope to see you at the Council Oak ceremonies on the 15th of October. So let's cut it off right there. And I've got a couple of announcements I need to run through you real quick in the last few seconds. The biggest one, celebrating Mvskoke Life Discover Cultural Day, sponsored by the Office of Child Care. That's the 30th from 10 to 2 between the Mound Building and the Office of Child Care. I think that's about all we can do with it right now, so we want to say thank you to our guests today. We appreciate you coming down and being part of our program. And to our listeners, Mado Mabu Hejitskud. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.